Hello, this is Dr. Do again. This video is outside of medicine. Continue with reading Psalm. I'm going to continue to read from previous video, Psalm 105, because this Psalm is relatively long, so I just break it into two videos. So I'm going to continue. If you recall from previously, it's counting the majestic deed that God has done to the forefathers, like Abraham, Isaac, and also what happened to the Egypt. So I'm going to continue to read. Then Israel entered Egypt. Jacob lived as an alien in the land of Ham. The Lord made his people very fruitful. He made them too numerous for their foes, whose heart he turned to hate his people, to conspire against his servants. He sent Moses his servant and Aaron, whom he had chosen. They performed his miraculous signs among them, his wonders in the land of Ham. He sent darkness and made the land dark, for had they not rebelled against his words? He turned their waters into blood, causing their fish to die. Their land teemed with frogs, which went up into the bedrooms of their rulers. He spoke, and there came swarms of flies and gnats throughout their country. He turned their rain into hail, with lightning throughout their land. He struck down their vines and fig trees and shattered the trees of their country. And he spoke, and the locust came, grasshoppers without number. They ate up every green thing in their land, ate up the produce of their soil. Then he struck down all the firstborn in their land, the first fruits of all their manhood. He brought out Israel, laden with silver and gold, and from among their tribes no one faltered. Egypt was glad when they left, because a dread of Israel had fallen on them. He spread out a cloud as a covering and a fire to give light at night. They asked, and he brought them quail, and satisfied them with the bread of heaven. He opened the rock, and water gushed out. Like a river, it flowed in the desert. For he remembered his holy promise given to his servant Abraham. He brought out his people with rejoicing, his chosen ones with shouts of joy. He gave them the lands of the nations, and they fell heir to what others had toiled for, that they might keep his precepts and observe his laws. Praise the Lord. So this is Psalm 105, the second part. Continue to counting the wonderful deed, the miraculous deed by the God. Continue the story from Joseph, and then to the seven disasters Moses brought to the land, if you recall. And so then Israel entered Egypt. This is after Joseph and their brothers unite in the Egypt. If you recall, Jacob sent his sons go to Egypt to buy the grains, and then Joseph was the one who handled this, and they wept and they hugged each other, embraced each other, and revealed. Joseph revealed who he was, and also so then he talked to the Pharaoh, brought the whole clan, whole group, whole family of Egypt to the Egypt of the Israel to the Egypt. So then Israel entered Egypt. Jacob lived as an alien in the land of Ham. Then Lord made his people very fruitful. He made them too numerous for their foes, whose hearts he turned to hate his people, to conspire against his servant. So because of this is what happened after Jacob moved to that land after Joseph had passed away. A couple generations passed, and then the Israel grows in numbers, a lot of them, but they were slaves in that country. And he sent Moses. If you recall, Moses was raised up by the Pharaoh's daughter as a prince, but because he was involved in a fight, then has to, which was witnessed by another Israel people, so he had to flee away from the land. But later on, he saw the burning bush with the flame and calling his name, so he came back to Egypt to lead his people out. So and the Pharaoh kind of battling, and so this is what happened. He sent Moses his servant and Aaron, whom he had chosen. They performed his miraculous signs among them, his wonders in the land of Ham. He sent darkness, made the land dark, for they had not rebelled against his words. He turned their waters into blood, causing their fish to die, and their land teemed with frogs, and went up into bedrooms their rulers, and spoke. There came swarm flies and nagging throughout the country, and turned the rains with hails and lightning throughout the land, and struck down their vines and fig trees, and shattered the trees of their country. And the locusts came, and grasshoppers without number. They ate all the grains and all the products, and they struck down all the firstborn and the first fruits of all the manhood. So this is what happened. If you read the Exodus, what happened in Egypt, Moses calling the Lord, created those disasters happened in that land, what happened. And then Pharaoh eventually softened his heart, let them go. So he brought out Israel laden with silver and gold from among their tribes. No one faltered. Egypt was glad when they left, because dread of Israel had fallen on them. He spread a cloud as covering and a fire to give light at night. So after they left the Israel, and God continuously to watch. After they left Egypt, God continuously to watch them in the desert, to provide water and also provide light and provide food like manna to sustain, because they were wandering in the desert. So Egypt was. So he spread out the cloud as covering fire to give light at night. They asked and brought them quails and satisfied them with bread of heaven. And he opened the rock, and the water gushed out, and like a river it flowed in the desert. So this is what happened during these 40 years wandering in the desert. And for he remembered his glory promise, holy promise given to his servant Abraham. He brought up his people with rejoicing, his chosen ones with shouts of joy. And he gave them the land of nations, and they fell heir to what others had toiled for, that they might keep his precepts and observe his laws. Praise the Lord. So this is the conclusion for the Psalm 105, after counting all of those miraculous deeds performed by the God, and also counting the history, start from Abraham, Jacob, Isaac, Jacob, and then Joseph, and then Moses, and then wandering in the desert. God still continue to watch them, provide them manna and also water and light. So because he remembered his holy promise with Abraham. So this is about the Psalm 105. From this Psalm 105, actually I see the real for those for the people of chosen. If you recall, from Abraham, Isaac, Israel, none of them are living a luxury or comfortable life. There are a lot of torment, suffering, anguish, agony. And even Moses, you imagine he's alone, lonely to lead his people out, and they day and night work hard through those years, through those battles. And also we see the face during this kind of harsh and torment and difficult time. They still holding this face. They are the chosen one. God are with them forever. So this is the Psalm 105. I'm going to stop here so you can read and interpret in your own way. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.